Hi there, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Pablo, and we are talking about the now the reading. First, we're gonna read Top Gear Challenge. Then, men talk just much as women. Can it really be true? Then, gossip with the girls. Just pick any one of 40 subjects. Y comando that.
First, Top Gear Challenge. On Top Gear, a very popular TV series about cars and driving, they decided to organize a race across Florida to find the quickest way to cross a bus state. The idea was to start from Miami in the southwestern part of Florida and to finish the race at the southernmost point of US, Key West. A trip of 600 miles. Three possible forms of transportation were chosen: a motorboat, a car, and a combination of transportation. One of the chose Roloff Wood took the motorboat, and his colleague Adam Ferreira took the car. A 2010 Lotus Deborah. Tanner photos took different kinds of transportation. His trip involved getting a taxi to the airport where he flew in a seaplane, then he rented a scooter. They sit from John's Boat Yard in Miami River.
Roloff in the boat. His trip began in Miami River. For the first hour, there was a speed limit of 7 miles an hour because of the enforced no-wake zone in the river. Once the boat passed through Biscayne Bay and went under Rickenbacker Bridge, he entered open water. Roloff increased the boat's speed to over 90 miles an hour and made up the time he lost on Miami River. Approximately 60 miles from the finish line, Roloff was ahead of Adam and Tanner, but he had to stop gas if he wanted to reach the finish line in the Key West. In the 15 minutes it took to refuel the boat, Adam passed Roloff in the car and took the lead. Once Roloff was back on the open water, there were a lot of big waves, but he was able to pass Adam near 7 Mile Bridge just outside of Key West. Unfortunately for both Roloff and Adam, Tanner flew over them in the seaplane at about the same time. Now Tanner was in the best position to win. Each racer was only miles from the finish line in Key West. Who would win?
Adam started off oak. He wasn't driving fast because he was going to speed limit. However, after an hour, Adam decided that he was going too slowly. He increased his speed to 75 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. As Adam passed through a small town, he was stopped by the police. They were angry that Adam was speeding, and it meant that Adam lost many valuable minutes. Another problem Adam had was that his GPS was programmed to give direction in Spanish instead of English. This made finding his way to Key West difficult. As Adam finally approached Key West, the traffic was getting worse. He was worried about getting stuck so close to the finish line. Only 3 miles to go.
Now, men talk just as much as women. Can it really be true? Research by psychologists in the University of Arizona has shown that the stereotype that women talk more than men may not be true. In the study, hundreds of college students were fitted in the recorders, and the total number of words they used during the day was then counted. Results published in New Scientist show that women speak about 1,600 words a day, and men speak only like a fewer. In fact, the four most talkative persons in the studio were all men. Professor Matthias Mell, who was in charge of the research, said that he and his college had expected to find the women were more talkative. However, they had been skeptical of the common belief of women 3 times as many words as men. This idea became popular after publication of the book called The Female Brain, whose author, Lon Brisdin, claimed that women use about 20,000 more per day, whereas a man use about 7,000. Professor Mel accepts that many people will find the result difficult to believe. However, he thinks that his research is important because the stereotype that women talk too much and men keep quiet is bad not only for women but also for men. It says that to be a good male, it's better not to talk. That silence is golden.
Gossip with the girls. Just pick any of 40 subjects. Women are expert at gossips, and they often talk about troubling things, or at least that's what men have always thought. However, according to the research done by Professor Petra Boynton, a psychologist at University College London, when women talk, the women their conversation are not trivial at all and cover many more topics up to 20 to 40 than when men talk to other men. Women's conversation range from health to their house, from politics to fashion, from movies to family, from education to relationship problems. Almost everything, in fact, except soccer. Men tend to talk about fewer subjects, the most popular being work, sport, jokes, cars, and women. Professor Boynton interviewed over 1,000 women for her study. She also found that women move quickly from one subject to another in conversation, whereas men usually stick to one subject for a long period of time. Professor Boynton also says that men and women talk for different reasons. In social situations, women use conversation to solve problems and reduce stress, while men talk to each other to love or to exchange opinion.
Command that. For 6 years, Nils Sinclair served as a commando in the army. He had been in a lot of dangerous situations, but nothing prepared him for the day when he brought his first baby home from the hospital. I put the car seat containing my 2 days old son Samuel down on the floor and said to my wife, "What do we do now?" When he left the army, Sinclair and his wife agreed that he would stay at home and take care of the baby, while his wife went back to work. I have done a lot of crazy things, but when I put that baby down, I thought, I have tiny baby and he is crying. What does he want? What does he need? I did not know. It was one of the most difficult days of my life. It was at the moment that Sinclair had an idea. I found myself thinking how much easier life would be if I had a basic training manual for my baby, like the manual you get when you join the army. I realized that somebody need to write such a manual, and who better to write it than me? I had been a commander, but I was now a stay-at-home dad. I was the man for the job. His book, Commander That, Basic Training, is a set of instructions that explain with military precision and diagrams how neat father should approach the first 3 years of their child's life to become a first-rate father. That's all. Thanks for watching!